I played 21 games in the year 2021. Back in January, actually back like late December, I decided I'm gonna play more games, more single player games, because I've dedicated a big portion of my life to fighting games, grinding and leveling up and competing. Also, when I was a kid, I didn't really play a lot of single player games because I was mostly stuck to one console and just a couple games, which includes Super Mario Bros. 64, which I played a ton of, and a bunch of other games like racing games like Diddy Kong Racing. What that did is essentially it hindered me from experiencing other games that people consider to be called classics or just timeless classics in general. So I decided, you know what? It's the time where COVID's happening. There's really nothing going on during the time I made this bucket list back in January or in December of 2020. And I decided, you know what? This is probably going to keep happening for a year. Essentially, I decided, all right, let's go ahead and start playing a whole bunch of games that I missed out on. So I did 21 games of games that I've never played before, with the exception of one, because, and I'll get to that in just a second, but this is basically my little summary recap and ranking of the 21 games I played in the year 2021 for this bucket list. Without further ado, let's get this started. 21 games. You might be saying to yourself, well, that's not a lot. I can play 21 games and no problem. Well, here's the thing. When you're a content creator, you don't necessarily have a lot of time to play these games when you have a lot of other things going on. I thought to myself, okay, there's not going to be a lot going on in fighting games, so I'll just play these games and nothing will happen. Well, Guilty Gear Strive happened, Melty Blood Type Lumina happened, KOF 15 happened, DNF happened. Lots of things happened, and not just to mention the VTuber stuff, the new debuts that happened, the collabs that I did. So I was dead wrong when I said, you know what, nothing's gonna happen in 2021. Boy, man, I was definitely dead ass wrong. So anyways, I still did it. I set off on my adventure and I took my sweet ass time. I took so long that I had to play 8 of the remaining games. I didn't want this bucket list to loom over my head. And that's the main reason why YouTube hasn't been seeing as many uploads as before. I can continue on with these uploads and I can but I digress. You guys want to talk about the 21 games that I played. What are the 21 games that these are the 21 games that I played. Now I gotta clarify a few things because when I wrote this, I was high, or I don't know what the hell was wrong with me. But when I say the Yakuza series, I did not actually mean the entire Yakuza series. At this point, it was between two games. It was between Yakuza Zero or Kiwami 1. So it was between one of those two. So that's why I wrote Yakuza series. Just one of those, which one was the starting point. And it was unanimous that everybody said Yakuza Zero. During this time, I said Yakuza series, but in reality, it's actually Yakuza Zero. The same thing happened with DMC. DMC, it was between 3 and 1. And then I personally took the initiative and said, you know what? I should play the original. The one that came out first, even though technically 3 is the first one canonically. So I decided to play a DMC 1. So that's why I say DMC series and Yakuza series. It doesn't actually mean the entire series. It's one game. Now, there's a catch to this bucket list. Now, this is not just a regular average bucket list. There's, of course, the whole meaning of bucket list is before I die, I have to do these things. But at the end of the bucket list, it wasn't death that was awaiting me. What was awaiting me was my hair. It was gonna be gone. I was gonna shave my head completely and donate it to charity because I have a luscious locks. So if I did not finish this bucket list by the end of the year, I was gonna shave my head. That kind of gave me a little bit of an incentive and a push and the drive to actually play the games and not just like leave them off. You know, like most people do when they go like to a Steam sale, they buy a game, it's like, oh, I'll put that in the library, never to touch it again. I feel like that was gonna happen with this bucket list. Well, the shaving hair thing really was a big motivator us to play these games. So at the end of the day, I did it and I was able to finish just in time. Now, there's another thing I need to address is Sekiro. No, it's not Sekiro. Demon Souls. Demon Souls is something that I put on here because of course, I wanted to play it. And at that time, I did not have a PlayStation 5. So I was going to have a PlayStation 5 and I did get a PlayStation 5, but then something happened. So I replaced Demon Souls with Majora's Mask. Anyways, that's kind of with that. Everything else, just to kind of quickly answer it, God of War, I ended up playing Dad of War. Ninja Gaiden, I played Ninja Gaiden Black. And I think that's about it. Oh, Tales game. The Tales game I played was Tales of Arousal, aka Tales of Arise. So, with that being said, these are the games I played. Now, after playing them, it's time for me to tell you guys my ranking and my thoughts on all these games after playing all of them. All right? Oh, there's one more thing I need to say before I continue, okay? And this is important, so listen up. I am not going to be judging or ranking these games based on how good they are. I'm basing these numbers and attaching these numbers to these games due to my experience with the games. Just because I put a game at number 1 doesn't mean it's better than number 5. Just because I put the game at number 19 doesn't mean that it's better than number 12. It's just my personal experience with the game, how much I enjoyed it, and how much I am willing to play it again. So, with that being said, at number 21 is Gravity Rush. Now, Gravity Rush is a very beloved game because it initially came out for the PSP, and then they ported it and remastered it for the PS4. Now, people tell me that Gravity Rush 2 is better. They love Gravity Rush 2, and they're begging me to play Gravity Rush 2. But here's the thing. Here's another thing I want to stress. Just because this game is at the bottom or any other games that are at the bottom doesn't influence me to not play the sequels or other games in that series. Now, the reason why this game is at the bottom at 21 is because while it is a very unique, interesting experience, it made me dizzy as hell, dude. I could not get used to the whole mechanic where you switch around, everything's upside down, everything is going sideways. It's very unique in that regard. I know that eventually if I keep playing it, I'm gonna get used to it, but as a person who's never played a game like that before, it kind of made me a little trippy. And because of that, my experience playing this game, I think the other games that I played on this list were better than this one. But I love the characters. I love the story because it was very interesting as to what the hell was going to happen next. The gameplay was unique and interesting, and I did like it. But even though, there was a lot of motion sickness involved. So at number 21 is Gravity Rush 1. Okay? At number 20, what do you think is at number 20? What do you guys think is at number 20, chat? At number 20 is the original Super Mario Brothers for the NES. And there's only one specific reason why, and it's because of you guys. I basically did a stream where I had to finish the game in one stream. And I also put in a little twist where the chat can interfere and ruin my playthrough. Well, the playthrough was definitely ruined. I finished it, but there you go. Thank you, chat. Making my life a literal living hell that day. Anyways, 19. What do you think is at number 19? At number 19, we have Metroid Other M. Now, here's the thing with Metroid Other M. All right? There's a couple things that I didn't like about this game. I love the gameplay. I thought it was really fun, that the fact that they can transition from 2D into like 3D, and they made a game strictly based on all that. But there's a couple things that I didn't like. One of those things including Adam. Adam's a bitch. 2, I did not like how they portrayed Samus in this game. If you really want to play a good game that portrays Samus with the reputation that she has, being the greatest bounty hunter in all of the galaxies.
Did Adam authorize that rank?
All right, I'm gonna mute chat now because they're not funny. If you really want to play a game that really notarizes her reputation as the greatest bounty hunter of all time, you play Metroid Dread or play Samus Returns. Those games, they do her justice. She is an absolute badass. She reminds me of John Wick. Like she's the Baba Yaga of the galaxy. Not just that, but like the story was whack. The freaking, oh my god, the ending was just not good either. The fact that I had to go back for a helmet from Adam, oh my god, I just don't like Adam. Anyways, other than that, I did like the gameplay. I thought it was fun, but the story, the dialogue, and some of the decisions they made for the game were just not good. Other M. Number 19. Chat, this is where things get hard. What do you think? Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, Celeste. Now, here's the thing with Celeste. Celeste is a beautiful game. Gorgeous. I love the platforming. Literal platforming masterpiece. The story, the theme, everything about this game was beautifully well done and well executed. Not just that, the replayability is ridiculous, right? The only reason why this is at number 18 is simply because I enjoyed my experiences with other games better. That's it. I think this game, and it's a master of its own class. I have no ill words to say about this game, other than the fact that I just enjoyed the experiences in other games more. That's it. The death count didn't matter. Side B didn't matter either. I actually was contemplating going back and actually trying to attempt to side B a bunch of the levels, but I loved it. This game is amazing. I would recommend this game to anybody that loves platformers and games with good story and good themes. Anyways, number 17. What do we got? Number 17, we got Tales of Arousal. Now, here's the thing with Tales of Arousal. For my first Tales game, I had a good time. I loved the gameplay. It was really fun. And I was told that the gameplay itself was kind of revamped with the overworld and also with some of the gameplay elements. I love the gameplay and stuff. The story was interesting to some degree. There was a lot of questions and there was a lot of answers and, predictable answers, I should say. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time with Tales. But here's the thing. When it comes to JRPGs or action RPGs, whatever the hell you want to say, there wasn't anything that could set its place over any of the other games in this list. The game was great. It's just that I enjoyed the other experiences better. That's at number 17. 16! What's at number 16, chat? What's at number 16? Devil May Cry 1. Devil May Cry 1. Now, I'm glad I played this game because this is like the beginning of a great franchise. A lot of people were contemplating playing 3. People still want me to play 3. Listen, I played 3. I just didn't finish it. So I will be playing 3 eventually, but I really wanted to go back to the roots of Devil May Cry. All right? Because without this game, we wouldn't have DMC 3 or DMC 5. Without DMC 5, there's no Bury the Light. And that's a problem. So going back and paying homage to this game is fantastic and a great thing to do. When it comes to the actual game itself, I started off with DMC 4, then I played DMC 3, and now I'm playing DMC 1, and the gameplay does improve drastically as the series goes on. But like I said, it was still pretty fun to go through. I love playing as Dante, and there was some meme moments in there. You know, fill Dark Soul with light, ha ha ha. You know what I mean? There's a lot of good stuff. I had a good time with this game. And seeing that combo counter go up, even if it's 2021 and DMC 1, it was really fun to see that combo counter go up, right? I'm excited to play DMC 5 and DMC 3 in the future as well. Number 15. What do we got for number 15? BanjoKazooie. As soon as I saw this character in Smash Brothers. And then I looked up and found out that Banjo actually has a video game. And not just any video game, from the Nintendo 64. I didn't know this. So I went ahead and I looked it up and found out that you could play it on Xbox. We played BanjoKazooie. Classic collectathon, platformer, puzzle finder, whatever you want to say. The Nintendo 64 has a lot of gems when it comes to these platforming collectathon games. You know, Super Mario 64, Conker's Bad Fur Day even, like if you want to say that. BanjoKazooie is up there as one of the godfathers of like original platformer / collectathons. But I wanted to play this game because of that and Corone. Hikombokum. She kind of influenced me in a way. So I was able to play it and I had a good time with it. Had a lot of interesting times with Gruntilda and the shark in that one level. Yeah. I don't want to think about that anymore. Number 14. Number 14. Why are people saying Metal Gear Solid 2? Anyways, number 14, Ninja Gaiden Black. I should say Black. Ninja Gaiden Black. This might not be Ninja Gaiden Black, but that's okay. That's okay. Ninja Gaiden Black was a great experience. I loved it. It was very confusing, and as you all know, throughout the year, I've had some issues and difficulties playing some of these games, like Metroid Prime. We all know about the Metroid Prime situation. Well, Ninja Gaiden also had a situation where I couldn't really stream it because I didn't know which version to play. There's like at least a million versions of the remake of the original, okay? So, first of all, I had to see which version I'm going to play. It was either the SNES version or the 3D modern versions. We decided on the modern versions by like a little small margin. 49% of people wanted the SNES, 51% of people wanted the 3D. So we decided on the original 3D. And then alongside that, there was also like a million versions of the original. There's like Ninja Gaiden Remake, then there's Ninja Gaiden Black, then there's Ninja Gaiden Sigma, and then there's like Sigma Plus or something like that. And then there's the Masters Collection of Sigma, etc., etc. There's so much crap, right? So I'm like, that was kind of confusing to get a hold of. And then I decided on Ninja Gaiden Sigma because Ninja Gaiden Sigma is on PS3. That's the version that they made for the PlayStation because Black was for the original Xbox. Then they ported over to the PlayStation, and they completely reworked it, revamped it and stuff. So I decided Ninja Gaiden Sigma. Then I bought it because I couldn't buy it on the PS3. And then all of a sudden I bought it. I got the physical copy and then I lost it. And it's still lost to this day. So I can't play Sigma. So there was a freaking huge debacle with that. And then I found out that you could always, you could have just played Ninja Gaiden Black, the original Xbox version, on the Xbox One. And I have access to an Xbox One. So that's what I did. I played Ninja Gaiden Black. And I'm glad I did because there's a lot of debate whether or not Black is the definitive or Sigma is the definitive. It always goes back and forth. But one thing's for sure, a lot of people agree on, is that Ninja Gaiden Black is the hardest one. It's because it's one of the originals that's refined. So I played one of the hardest ones, and it was great. I loved it. I love the whole thing with all the weapons. I love the gameplay. The story was actually pretty cool. I enjoyed that. Characters were all very... Yeah, I enjoyed my time with Ninja Gaiden Black a lot. And the experience I'll never forget, for sure. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. Now we got number 13. What do we got at number 13, chat? What do you guys think? At number 13, The Last of Us is at number 13. Here's what I have to say about The Last of Us. I did not expect to run into a fandom as bad as anime fandoms. I swear to God. That's the first thing. Because as soon as I mention Last of Us 1, something gets triggered in a Last of Us fan and they immediately bring up the second one. I don't even want to talk about the second one, but they want to talk about it. And you know what that reminds me of? The JoJo fandom. Every time I mention JoJo, somebody says, oh, part 3 is great, but it's not the greatest. It's long. It's man, this and that. And then somebody goes... But JoJo Part 3 is the best. Dio's there. Stan's making an entrance. And then all of a sudden it gets into a freaking big old debacle. And I'm just like, I just like to see the pretty men pose. That's all I like. It's the same thing with Last of Us. I just want to play Last of Us 1, and I can't because I got people barking down my throats to not play Last of Us 2. Then I get people like, oh, it's not that bad, but a lot of people don't like the direction it took. And people's like, no, it's trash, it's garbage, it's basura, and you're basura too. And then the whole debacle, the whole war starts. Anyways, just wanted to say that because it was insane what I had to go through when I played this game. But when I did play this game, I was blown away. This game revolutionized single-player adventure games where you can bond in a way that I've never bonded with a character before. Now, Last of Us is goated, in my opinion. It paved the way for other games to also explore the themes of adventure games while also bonding with multiple people or a person, while also having really fun, addicting gameplay. And I loved it. I love my experience with Last of Us, and I loved having the fact that I play a morally gray protagonist where I can either be selfish or I can basically like become Jesus and save mankind. We all know what happened at the end. I'm not going to say anything, but it's the morally gray area that I really like to explore in certain games, and this game really hit you in the face with it. Can't believe that these people made freaking Crash Bandicoot. Is that crazy? Anyways, so yeah, number 13 is The Last of Us. Number 12. What do you think is number 12, huh? Majora's Mask. I played Majora's Mask 100% blind. Now let me define 100% blind. Meaning that I've never played Majora's Mask before in my life, and I attempted to 100% the game completely. I did have help. I did have help of guides, to relieve some of the stress of having to run around like a complete buffoon, trying to figure out what to do to 100% things, and also do it in a Gamerthon setting. Gamerthon is a made-up word or a made-up thing that I did where I play the game and I don't stop the stream until I finish the game. Meaning I would sleep on stream and I would wake up, play the game, go to sleep, wake up, play the game. And it took me 82 hours to beat completely. This was a hell of an experience. I loved it. This is probably one of my favorite Zelda games right next to Breath of the Wild because like I mentioned before, this game is essentially a little bit less than most Zelda games, but more fleshed out. There is only 4 temples. There is only a few set of characters, but you get to revisit them every single time you reset the time. And that builds a pretty cool camaraderie or like a relationship. Not necessarily relationship, but like you get to see those characters and you get to experience what happens in the Day of Reckoning. Like that moment, the Day of Reckoning, there's like a million things happening and you get to experience all of them and think about all of them at the same time. It's crazy. It's really cool. It's fascinating and it's really fun. So I enjoyed the hell out of Majora's Mask, and the way that I did it, I don't regret it at all. It was really fun. So Majora's Mask, number 12. Number 11. What do you think is at number 11? Well, at number 11, Dark Cloud 2. Dark Cloud 2 is the game that I did not tackle this blind. This is a game that I played before. It's one of the most nostalgic games from my childhood, right next to Kingdom Hearts 1. And I wanted to get this on the bucket list to experience this with you guys and have the playthrough documented so I can look back and watch my favorite game. It's kind of weird the reasoning that I have, to watch myself play Dark Cloud 2, but I always wanted to do that. Ever since I started doing YouTube and I put up my Kingdom Hearts playthrough on YouTube for the first time, I decided to do Dark Cloud 2, but fast forward 8 years later and I'm finally doing it. So this is one of the games that I wanted to put on there, even though it's not a blind or, kind of like a game I've never played before. I still wanted to get it documented on stream. So I love this game with all my heart. It was a great finale game. This is the last game I played on my bucket list. And I loved and enjoyed every second of it. Love it. So now we're getting into the top 10. This is where things got a little bit tricky and a little harder. So what do you think is at number 10? Number 10. At number 10, we have Super Metroid. Super Metroid is a game I've always seen being speedrun. It's a massively popular game. It's a speedrunning gargantuan. I consider Super Mario 64 and Super Metroid to be like the Melee of speedrunning. Doesn't matter how old it is, there's still new things to be found, new ways to improve your time, and it's always a freaking sight to behold whenever you see an expert playing the game. With that being said, I decided, you know what? I'm actually gonna buck up and play a Super Metroid instead of watching a speedrun of it. Even though I watched many speedruns of it, I tackled this game and it still took me a while, just like a regular blind game, because of how crazy advanced speedrunners are at making this game easy to pass. So Super Metroid was a blast. I freaking loved it. It is one of the greatest games of all time. My experience with it was amazing, and I'd play it again if I really wanted to. I love it. Number 9. What do we got at number 9? What do we got at number 9? Sekiro. Sekiro was a freaking sight to behold. I think Sekiro is probably my favorite FromSoft game. I love it. Everything about it. The movement, the platforming, the rope arm thing, the enemies, the bosses, the parry system, the posture, everything about that was freaking amazing. I enjoyed every single bit of it. The gameplay was phenomenal and makes me want to come back to it and try to beat the bosses again because the bosses were super memorable. And I remember, some of them kicking my ass, and I remember kicking their ass. And it just made for a very pleasurable playthrough that I loved. And I think the stream really liked it too. Number 9 is Sekiro. What do you think is at number 8, chat? What do you think is at number 8? Metroid Prime. Metroid Prime was probably my favorite Metroid game that I played in this bucket list. Metroid Prime takes the Metroidvania formula and puts it in an FPS format. Now, there's a lot of games that have attempted to switch up the formula with their IPs, okay? We've seen it time and time again, but I think this is one of the examples where it succeeds and it turns out to be better than expected. I loved playing this game. This game was amazing. I love traversing through every area. I love getting a new weapon. Basically, all the things I love about Metroid, just in a first-person format. Now, I played on the Wii, so I did have the freaking whatever. That's Prime. Doesn't matter if it's Prime 3, chat. You guys are such nitpickers. It's Metroid Prime. Whatever, dude. Jesus Christ, chat. You You guys would not be fun to hang out at a bar. You know that? What are you guys, Twitter? So I loved it. Every single moment of it. I love the final boss. I love the other bosses that I had to fight as well. I love looking for items. I love looking for new upgrades, coming back to specific areas where now that I'm more well suited, I can find new ways to go around and traverse the world. It was just a blast. It was fun. Fun as hell. And just shooting things, moving around was really fun too. I loved Metroid Prime. It's my favorite Metroid Prime, or my favorite Metroid game in this bucket list until Dread came out, and I played Dread as a bonus game, and Dread is 100% my favorite Metroid game. That game is too sick. It's too sick. Anyways, Metroid Prime 1 made me want to play the other games. So I will be playing the other games in the future. Don't know when, but I love Metroid Prime 1. Number 7? What's a number 7, chat? Number 7. Doog. Not Eternal. Sorry, this is not Doog Eternal. It's not Eternal, it's Doog 2016. Don't worry about it, chat. So anyways, Doom 2016. We played the original one. We have not played Eternal yet. Now, this is another one that was kind of influenced by Korone in a way. And at the same time, me being a lover of Mick Gordon's music with Killer Instinct, I wanted to play this game again. Because I played it back in the day and I rented it. No, I borrowed it from a friend. I played an hour of it and then I played Street Fighter V. So I wanted to come back. I wanted to actually play the game and feel the things that people feel when they play this game. If that makes sense. The music, gore, the freaking visceral violence that you feel in this game is something I will never forget for the rest of my life. Now I have to be careful whenever I drive and there's Doom music playing because it makes me want to put the pedal to the metal and you know what I mean? It makes me feel invincible, which I'm clearly not. It makes me feel good. You know, I love working out to it. That's good workout music. Doom 2016 is at number 7. All right, chat. We're approaching top 5. But before we hit our top 5, what's at number 6, chat? Care to place your bets? Hades. Hades was something I never thought I would enjoy this much. Okay, I did not expect to enjoy Hades this much. I still play it, chat. I still play it off stream. I actually am thinking about speedrunning Hades. Possibly. It's like a big old thought in my mind to play this game so much that I can speedrun it. Everything about this game is amazing. I love the dialogue, the voice actors, the gameplay. Oh my god, the gameplay. I can play this game for hours and the time will just go way over my head because of how much fun I have with this game. When I first played it, I just heard lots of things of it's hard. Oh, it was, technically speaking, the game is at least 50 or so hours, but the game, you can finish the game technically in 1 hour. And I'm like, what? What does that mean? It's the first time I've heard of something like that. And that because this is my first roguelike. So I never, or rogue type, whatever the hell you want to call it. So I never understood the fact that, okay, you can try to beat it on your first run, but the game promotes you to die a couple times for you to get stronger and know the enemies so you can eventually make your way through the dungeons and pass it with flying colors and then do it again because you don't necessarily level up your weapons. You just, well, you can. The whole fun of the gameplay in this game is the fact that you can go into the dungeon and have a completely different run from what you did before because of the abilities that you pick up. They're random. That's what makes this game so addicting. So because of that, I'm still playing it to this day. It's one of my favorite games of all time, but it's not in the top 5 experiences that I had this year. Now we're getting into the top 5. Number 5, chat. Number 5 is Chrono Trigger. Now, when I say that people were pounding on my door with a Bible, but the Bible was scratched off and it said Chrono Trigger, and they told me, do you have time to speak of our Lord and Savior Chrono Trigger? You have any idea how many times I slammed the door in their face saying, I get it, and then left it at that? Finally, I get to play this game and see what the hell they were talking about. All these people coming up to my hypothetical door and trying to preach the good word of Chrono Trigger. People tell me left and right that it's the greatest game of all time. Well, I went ahead and I played the game, and I can happily say that this is probably, arguably, it is the greatest RPG of all time. I love this game. This is close to perfection as you get for an RPG. The characters, the gameplay, the story, the continuity, everything is just perfect. And it pleases my little pea brain. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And it's one of my favorite games of all time. There's a difference between favorite game of all time and the most enjoyable game on this bucket list, okay? It's moved on to be one of my favorite games of all time. I will recommend this game to anybody any day of the week. Number four, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Listen up. This game, I think out of every other game, took me by storm. Like out of left field. What the hell did I just play? And this was one of the first, I think this might have been the first game I played on this list. The first game back in January. And I'm still remembering stuff now. I remember the music. I remember the bosses. I remember the combos. I remember the characters. Nano Machine, son. The memes. Everything. I still remember it clear as day, even though this happened close to a year ago. That says a lot. This was probably one of the most enjoyable experiences ever. Yes, I did play the DLC. I played Sam's DLC and I played, what's his name? Black Wolf. I think his name was Storm Wolf, whatever the hell you want to say. Loved every minute of it. And I will never forget it. Especially because of the music. The music just enhanced the experience. Similarly to Doom. Doom, you get to, viscerally tear people apart. This one, you get to neatly chop people up into fine minced meat. And, I kind of like that a little more. Number 3. Oh, we're getting to the top 3, baby. Well, chat, at number 3 is Metal Gear Solid 3. Now, this was an unforgettable experience. Unforgettable. I've never played a game like this that pays so much attention to detail. This is literally a game where you can face a boss, leave for vacation, come back, and the boss is gone. This is the type of game that will blow expectations in my book. That is insane. This is a game where the game will make fun of you. It made fun of you. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe you really left them hanging like that. Like, it's self-aware. And now I realize why so many people will bend over at the waist, okay, to suck Kojima's dick. I didn't get it before. I didn't understand it. Now I get it. They will bend over backwards just to suck this man's dick because of how great the games he produced are. He thinks outside the box. He makes experiences that you've never played before. I played 21 games. None of them were like Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. And I played Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2, and 2 was a trip. 1 was amazing, cult classic, or I'm sorry, timeless classic, and 3 is just the one that is undeniably probably the best one. Because not just of the gameplay experience, but the story. What it does to set up the future Metal Gear games. The twist that it has. The music. The freaking ladder scene.
What a thrill. Everything about this game is just a masterpiece. But it's still not my favorite experience that I've played on this bucket list. There's still two other ones. What's at number 2, chat? It's between 2 games. It's between 2 games, chat. What's at number 2? Between 2 games. 2 games that were my favorite experiences of this year. At number 2, Dad of War. Dad of War is by far the most optimal way to be able to bond with a character. I absolutely loved every single bit of traversing down and up the mountain with the boy. And they got the gameplay for the boy perfectly. They also got the voice actor for Kratos perfectly. And what impressed me the most was the fact that they tried to shoot it all in one take. Everything was done in one take. No loading screens. All the transitions were one take. The entire experience of you going up the mountain just to dump some ashes of your family member, right? Like from the very beginning. Now, what happens during that adventure is what's the cool part. Kratos gets to settle his problems with the past and come to terms with them. And the twist that happens at the end, and you guys know what I'm talking about if you played the game, the twist that happens at the end just blew my mind. And the gameplay
It's like, think of what I said about Majora's Mask, and put it into like a gameplay element. Essentially, like, you don't have a ton of weapons. You don't have a ton of tools to be able to maul through a whole bunch of freaking enemy types. You have one thing, and you flesh it out. That axe can do anything you want. Anything you want. It's literally like, upgrade this weapon, and then it grows near and dear to you. It's like you picking up one character in a fighting game and you honing your skills with that specific character. That's what it felt like to play God of War. And alongside that, you have this incredible experience that Last of Us started, because it reminded me a lot of Last of Us, but it's more refined. It's more honed. They're also two completely different games, bruh. And it's, I think, a lot more unforgettable. And that's why I won Game of the Year. Both of them won Game of the Year. Anyways, which only leaves one game. The greatest experience that I had this year playing a video game was the game that I tried to play for a long time and dedicate to one of my favorite content creators, Kiryu Koko, was Yakuza Zero. All right, wasn't expecting this picture, but listen, Yakuza Zero, undescribable. I can't describe this game. I can't describe it. People have tried and they still get it wrong. You can't describe this game. You can only play this. You can only play it and see for yourself what a ridiculous experience this is and what a fun experience it is. You can go from watching half-naked ladies wrestle to experiencing a police mafia drama. You can also race RC karts, and you can also be very good friends with a great value Michael Jackson. You can be a producer. You can be a real estate agent. What? You can manage clubs and pimp out girls in like a Barbie simulator to be able to please clients for giving you money. All at the same time, a dude with nothing but white sneakers and underwear keeps following you around looking for places to ejaculate. Can you get any crazier than that? Oh, did I mention that you can look at porn? Oh, yeah. No, okay. More like grab your idols. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say porn. I should say you can look at sexy woman while there's a bottle of lotion and napkins or tissues right next door, and it's assumed that you're there to relieve yourself. All while experiencing these side quests that I can't even get into. You join a cult. You try to reconnect a daughter with a father, and the father ends up saying, "F*** the daughter. I'm just gonna go off and just hook up with this cabaret club chick." You can also freaking team up with Michael Jackson and dance with him. I don't know. I didn't even scratch the surface of other things that you can do in the game. But overall, a month doesn't do that game justice. You got all sorts of freaking songs coming out of here that are constant hits on my playlist on Spotify. Now you can see why this is number one, right? Data Boy, Metal Gear Solid, Chrono Trigger, all these games, which are amazing in their own right, I don't think can even hold a candle to the amount of fun that you can have in Yakuza Zero. It's literally a game where the developers didn't give an absolute rat's ass and say, put everything in this game, and made it work. Isn't that crazy? That, my friends, is the 21 games that I played in 2021, and I loved and enjoyed every second of it, and I had an absolute blast playing them, let me tell you. Shout out to Nugget, the true hero of Yakuza Zero. Oh my god, Nugget is my favorite employee, the greatest employee to ever grace Yakuza Zero, or my real estate. You know what I mean?